So like everybody else doing the West Highland Way, obviously getting bits and pieces together over a stretch of time, and one of the things I got was a water filter. And then I heard on the news that there was a number of people had gone down ill, having taken water from streams on the West Highland Way, even after filtering it. Now, I thought, well, I could do a test on my filter, which is a Katadyn BeFree, and see if it's any good. But obviously, I don't have the luxury of going out to a mountain stream to go and find some water, so I thought I'd come and get to my local stream. I don't know, maybe a mile away or something like that, there is a stream which bubbles up in Swindley Forest, which is called the Bull Brook, and it runs around the forest and is piped around the place a little bit, and it eventually comes out from underneath the road in one of these little culverts, which I'll spin you round. Now the thing is with the Bull Brook is that Bracknell was a new town when it was built, and obviously they knocked down the town centre a number of times and rebuilt it, but a lot of the housing around here was built in the 1980s. One of the ones up there, and consequently, when they were building the new town, they didn't have the same constraints as everybody else when they were building towns. So drainage water from the roads and roofs and houses and things like that in older towns would normally be turned into the local sewer, but not in this case. So with Bracknell being a new town, they turned all the excess water from roofs and drainage and roads and stuff all that like that, certainly around here, into 3 local streams, of which the Bull Brook is one of them. Now here's the Bray Brook a bit further down, and as you can just see there, that's one of the drain outlets from the local road, and obviously you can see in there there's quite a few pebbles and bits of sticks and things, but given that you can see the bottom of the concrete channel, the water's pretty clean. Obviously it's got a bit of peatiness to it, the colour of it, but relatively looking quite clean. So the Bray Brook comes down a little bit further, and now we're into this area here where you can see danger deep water, and this thing is called a silt trap. So it's like a kind of like a hollow kind of box section thing, and the idea is the water flows over the top of it, and any dissolved solids kind of drops into the trap, and then every so often the water authorities come in with a digger and drain it all out. Well, that's the concept anyway. Then onto this bridge thing, and we have a couple of traps again. These aren't silt traps, these are just here to trap floating debris like plastic bottles, plastic balls people chuck after the dogs that end up in the water course. Now these things down here, so you can see like there's a bunch of bricks which are concreted in, and then a number of steps which lead down there, and that's to slow down the water. So the water comes down here, and to what you think is going to be a local park, a little waterway, a little wetlands centre or something. But as you can see from the brickwork, it's all man-made. And over there on the island, over there you can maybe see some brickwork around the side of the island. Yeah, so yes, this is Savernake Park is a managed waterway, and I didn't realise until very recently that the whole point of this place is to manage floodwaters or potential floodwaters heading towards the further housing estates down towards the Martin's Heron kind of end of the housing estate. Because if you get the spring of where the Bullbrook is rises on a hill, and then it obviously travels downhill and it picks up pace. So what they need to do is to slow down the water, and they do this with this pond here called Savernake Pond. There's a number of them around the borough of Bracknell. So from what I understand from the news reports, there were 2 rivers which were involved with the poisoning of the walkers on the West Highland Way. One of them was called the Burn of Mar, and the other one was the river which was near to Gartness, where there's like an honesty box. Well, if you look on Google Maps, about I don't know, a couple of miles upstream, there's a little town, and there's a sewage treatment works there which is dumping effluent into the local river. Now obviously it's going to be clean water, let's just say that, but filters like the Katadyn BeFree will take out dissolved solids, and apparently it will take out bacteria. So they, you know, like the horrible things like Cryptosporidium and Giardia and all those horrible things. The Burn of Mar, on the other hand, drains from a lot of local farmland with a lot of local sheep on it. Now obviously, if I'm going to sample some of this water, the thing is that this local nature reserve obviously doesn't have sheep draining into it. Well, I don't know if it does have sheep draining into it. But I know Swinley Forest does have deer in it, so effectively you've potentially got deer poo running into the Bray Brook. And also we have our fair share of over here. You probably won't to make them out, but what we have a lot of here is gulls and Canada geese, and obviously they're pooing everywhere, and all that kind of stuff will drain into the water, and obviously there's a lot of silt in there as well. So a little way along here I'll take a sample of the water, and then we'll take it home for testing. So I'd watched a load of videos on YouTube, as you do, as you try and discover which is going to be the best filter for your walk, kind of thing. And I was convinced to buy the Katadyn BeFree through watching YouTubers like Andy at Backpacking UK, Abby Barnes, and Paul Messner. Yeah, so they were all using the Katadyn BeFree and saying, wow, it's amazing, and look at the flow rate and all this kind of thing. And then I saw a video by Stephen Reed, and he was saying that he was using a different type of water filter called the Pure Clear. And if you look at the specs of the Katadyn BeFree, it filters out dissolved solids, and it filters out bacteria like Giardia and Cryptosporidium, but it doesn't filter out bacteria, and the Pure Clear filter does filter out bacteria. So bacteria like norovirus and things like that, which I guess would come out of human excrement if it was dumped into the river. I don't know. I don't know the science behind this thing, but that's what we're going to try and test. So I'm going to take a sample of the water from here, from the pond, and we'll see. Take it home and test it, and see what it's like, and see which filter performs better or similar or whatever. It's a whole new experience for me. So I'm just looking at that water there, and it looks quite clear. But there's an oily haze on the top of it, which obviously you're going to get if you're draining water off the roads, because cars drop oil, don't they? But yeah, that doesn't look too great. I mean, it's quite clear, isn't it? But it's kind of brown, isn't it? And I think you'd be pretty desperate if you wanted to drink that. So I'm back home now, and I've got hold of the sample water from the local lake. And strangely, I asked my daughter this morning, I said, I've sampled this water from the local lake, would you drink this? And she said, oh, you know, in a survival situation. She went, oh yes, probably I would. And I thought, probably end up in hospital if you drunk this stuff. But anyway, so I got this tester off Amazon. It's a 6-in-1 tester, water quality tester. And it tests 6 dimensions in the of water quality, and it tests chemical oxygen demand, total organic carbon, total dissolved solids, UV275, which is ultraviolet absorption value, electrical conductivity, and temperature. And on this little LCD display here, it gives you the results, and it gives you in colour as well. So it gives you kind of like, I think it's green for excellent quality, all the way down to red, where you'd probably end up in hospital if you drunk it. So I got this clean glass straight from the dishwasher. It needs to be calibrated to start off with. So this tester is £45 off Amazon. I bought this with all these things I bought with my own money. I'm not sponsored by any of these companies. So this costs £45 off Amazon. It's extremely similar to the Cactoily thing that you get from America, but unlike the Katadyn one, which has got lots of information about it, this particular one, because it's manufactured in China, comes with almost no information. But if you follow the instructions from Katadyn about their tester, it works exactly the same. Ooh, strangely enough. So first of all, when you're using this tester, it needs to be calibrated. So you take the cap off the end of the device. When you're calibrating it, you have to use distilled water. You can't just use tap water or anything like that. So it is it's got to be distilled water. So first things first, just turn the device on. Then you press down and hold the measurement button. And it says calibration yes. So select yes on that, and then press the measurement button. So pop it into the water. So then it flashes up a display saying calibration successful, and then just goes to the base screen. So I thought, as with all these kind of things, we need to start off with a baseline. So my thought is that the baseline would be to test this this horrible water connected from the pond straight away, and see how we go on with that. So then I'll take my tester, pop it in there, press measure, and straight away it's come up with poor quality. It gives it a rating of 32%, and it says that it's 52.1 on COD, 74 on TOC, and 102 in dissolved solids. In the next section I'll describe what all these bits and pieces mean. So effectively, to me, that means that water quality poor, 32%, that would give me probably off to the hospital and probably kill you. So let's get rid of that water. Now, as I was explaining earlier, this is the one that I was convinced to buy from social media influencers, which is the Katadyn BeFree. And then the next one that I got for testing purposes was the Pure Clear. So these seem to be the brand outliers, the ones that seem to be the most popular. So I thought I'll give these a go. So let's get the Katadyn BeFree. Okay, and then we'll filter this water. So, as you can see, the Katadyn BeFree has run it through the filter. Looking in the glass there, it looks completely clear, but it's still like a matter of discoloration in the water. So let's I'll turn that on again. Well, that's a surprise. So it's gone through the Katadyn BeFree and it's come through as 32 poor with a COD of 45.5, TOC of 65, TDS of 106. So it hasn't really filtered much out at all, which is really surprising. So I'll chuck that away. Okay, and now we'll filter this horrible water with the pure clear. Okay, and now so pushing that water through the pure clear filter, that's taken all the coloration out of it, and it's completely clear. As far as I can see, so let's try the tester in there again. So that's really good. So that's come up with a score of 82. Sorry, 85. Good. So that's a COD of 1.6, a 2.2 on TOC, and total dissolved solids of 169. So I suppose the next test would be town water. So Bracknell town water. Should we give that a try? Let's give it a try. Okay, so I've just popped into the kitchen and to get myself some a glass of Bracknell town water. I'll pop the tester in the glass of water. Interesting. So yes, so the score of Bracknell town water there is 80. So that's a COD of 2.1, TOC of 2.8, TDS of 274, total dissolved solids. So I know that down here in this area of the country we've got what we call soft water. There's a lot of calcium in the water, which furs up your kettles and stuff like that. So I would expect it to have a lot of dissolved solids in there, but effectively this pure clear water filter can take I'm kind of laughing at this, but effectively this pure clear water filter has taken the kind of water that you'll get from an horrible stream and filtered it so that it's actually better than the local town water. That's amazing, isn't it? Absolutely amazing. Okay, so this testing meter that I got is made by a company called Danoplus, which I've got from Amazon, and I said it was £45, and it is virtually identical to the Katadyn unit, which was slightly more expensive, but I think slightly more expensive because it comes from the States rather than from China. Anyway, so the product features of the Katadyn, one is that it's a drinking water tester that can test TOC, COD, TDS, UV275, temperature, and EC, and then says, in other words, it's able to measure the bacterias, viruses, microplastics, weed killers, heavy metals, etc. in the water. It has an intelligent scoring to show you whether the water is safe through the colour, rating, and the results. You don't need to guess it's okay to drink. It'll let you know immediately. And as you saw whilst I was testing it there, it's a fast response time. It only takes a second or two for it to know the results. So we go down here, down the website, and it gives you a list of what the Katadyn is testing. And some of these I had to Google. So TDS is the total dissolved solids. So calcium chloride is just calcium in the water. So round here in the south of England, you're going to get absolutely loads of calcium in the water, but it's not going to hurt you too much. Sodium chloride obviously is salt, so you don't want to be drinking salt in any great quantities. It'll make you poorly. Magnesium sulfate apparently is also known as Epsom salts and can give you really bad diarrhea. So potassium nitrate is a common agricultural fertiliser and indicates farming runoff. High levels of this can give you dizziness, headaches and fatigue. Just moving anti-clockwise around the wheel. It talks about nitrite, organics, sulfide and ferrite. So this is the chemical oxygen demand, COD. So nitrite in drinking water indicates potential contamination from sewage, agricultural runoff or fertiliser, posing serious health risks. Sulfides indicate decaying organic matter. Ferrite is iron, obviously, which discolours the water and makes it taste unpleasant. And organics, again, refers to decaying organic matter. The ability to conduct current is looking for heavy metals like lead. Then going round the other way, in the UK, the UV275, you will get chlorine in all of town water. So all of our town water has chlorine added to it to kill all the bugs, and it also has fluoride added to it on it, which is supposed to help children's teeth when they're drinking water. It builds up the enamel on your teeth. The other thing there, the humus macromolecular organic matter. I had to Google that one, and apparently it's a longer way of saying dead stuff that's decaying in the water, like a dead sheep further upstream. Apparently it's the last level of putrefaction, when you get something that's rotting away, that's died. Aromatic compounds apparently means stuff like petrol. It refers to benzene and all the products that benzene's made out of. So it means that it's what it's testing is for petrol contamination. Temperature, obviously, which affects the niter. And then the horrible one there, TOC, which is total organic compounds. So it's testing for bacteria such as parasites like Cryptosporidium and bacteria such as E. coli, Legionella, and all those horrible things. Viruses such as norovirus. So if you have effluent going into treated effluent going into the rivers from a water treatment plant, it doesn't get rid of norovirus, and there are high amounts of norovirus within river water, apparently. It tests for weed killers such as glyphosate, which is commonly known by the trade name of Roundup. And then microplastics. Well, everywhere's got there's food that's got microplastics in it now, so it's absolutely everywhere. And then PAHs are polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. If you get any of this stuff in water, it detects toxic, persistent organic pollutants from oil and combustion sources. So effectively, when yesterday that I was showing you that kind of like oily film on top of the water, it detects for that. That's the polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons.